This is the Bible Ranger, and this is Evolution versus Creation, episode 91, How Did the Dinosaurs Die Off, part 2. All right, the pre-flood world before Noah's Ark, the flood, it was literally different. I mean, it was a greater landmass. It was subtropical temperatures throughout the world. And I showed you some of the proof last recording. We believe that the world had a canopy around it. And this canopy was either made of vapor or ice, like crystalline, okay? And that might sound strange, like ice above the earth, but I mean, you got to think about the Miser effect. You see some of it here where you can have, if the conditions are right, the magnetic poles of the earth can cause a reaction to the ice, and it can actually float. It can suspend it. Or vapor. We know that vapor floats anyway. But anyway, anywhere between 2 times or 50% of more oxygen back then. I have different reports. This is one of those ambers that you see like in Jurassic Park, and they have little bubbles in there, and they test the bubbles, and they know there was more air pressure back then. And there's reports where the largest of dinosaurs had nostrils like the size of a horse, which would not be big enough to support the oxygen that it would need. So you would need more oxygen on the earth. So the animals, everything on the earth, it was larger, it was stronger, it was greater longevity, it was healthier, and you basically heal faster. And I'll show you a quick snap of that on next picture. All right, this is just a bonus article. You can just pause if you want to read it, but basically, if you ever have a big infection and you can increase the oxygen, or some surgeries, or this is not here, but I've read before that if you have a stroke and you can get to the hospital within 2 hours and be in a hypodermic chamber, your chances of recovery is much better. All right, large dinosaurs. The Bible records that man was living to 900 years after the flood. Okay, so everything was larger back then. I mean, it doesn't say in the Bible that man was actually taller and bigger, but you can. And nobody really talks about this. I'm saying this because I studied the subject quite a bit. You would think that it would make sense that man was also bigger. Okay, it's not that we haven't found huge bones, because we have, but we'll talk about that in a little while. But everything was bigger. Dragonflies, rhinoceros, obviously the dinosaurs, the large ones, and everything. Well, sloths were huge. Beavers were huge. Everything was huge. Okay, so the conditions of the earth in the last slide. The higher magnetism, the greater air pressure, the conditions of the earth back then were made for a stronger animal, for a healthier animal. So everything can grow longer and older. So these dinosaurs are pretty much old. These huge dinosaurs. They were probably living hundreds of years. And there's no way to tell their age, but I'm just saying because they never stopped growing. A lizard like this, if it was 300 years old, can probably grow into something similar to this. Or this lizard here, if it was several hundred years old, could grow into something like this, maybe minus the ridges in the back. So it's not far to see this and put it together, because they were living so old. I mean, look at this turtle up here. Huge, tremendous tortoise up here. Look at the size of this man. Way larger than they are right now. So the conditions were just different. The magnetism and everything else helped these creatures grow larger. All right, now small dinosaurs. Large dinosaurs were a problem to go into the ark, right? So every time you see a drawing that is kind of a creation drawing, you see large dinosaurs going into the ark, but that doesn't make any sense. Because of course you want small dinosaurs. The largest eggs that the dinosaurs had out there were the size of a football. So think about a Brachiosaurus, huge. I mean, I don't know, 80 feet out there. And they're just having an egg of a size of a football. That's tiny compared to the size of the animal. So not infant dinosaurs, because they would need to be taken care of, but dinosaurs that were young and healthy and have a long years ahead of them. Okay, because even after the flood, man still lived 400 years, and then to 300, and then 200, 100, and it kind of leveled out to that, a little bit less than that. So large dinosaurs in the ark, that would be a problem. So bringing in obviously male and female that's the way to go. And everybody knows that Noah brought in two of each kind, two of each animal in the ark. However, to be technical, he brought in two of the unclean animals, and he brought seven of the clean animals. And clean animals are for food or fat or sacrifice. After the flood, we were allowed to eat meat. God actually says eat meat. Back then, apparently we did not. All right, large humans. Just wanted to add that many giant skeletons have been found. Okay, no thanks to the Smithsonian, which I love to visit them, but apparently they've been blamed about 100 years ago that's when it happened, but they were blamed recently, a few years ago, for the covering up of evidence that they destroyed thousands of bones, of giant bones, because it goes against the evolutionary theory. You can't have giants in the last days. In the days of past, you have to have monkey type people coming up. So this would be, I forgot where this was. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I think it was like near the Netherlands Museum, somewhere around that area. And this bone was found, I believe it's the United States somewhere. But this femur that was found, when they do the math, because if you know when you take your baby to the doctor, pediatrics, they can tell how large the baby's going to be according to their femur or something. Well, this femur, they do the calculations, and this giant here, it's going to be about 14 feet approximately. And whenever you see a picture of dinosaurs going to the ark, even in a creation book, you might see a humongous animal like this. And this is incorrect, because you need something a lot smaller. That would be a problem. The flood killed over 90%, 99% of all the dinosaurs in the world, obviously. Only the ones in the ark were the ones that survived. But God picked small ones and young ones and strong ones. And he's the one that brought them to the ark, okay? Now, evolutionists are going to claim that there's 8.7 million species of life on the earth. I don't know how accurate that number is, but it's a huge number, okay? So could they have fit into the ark? Well, no, not 8.7 million. So let's just unpack this a little bit. All right, species versus kind. I've used the word kind, and it's this guy who's been writing, an evolutionist. He calls himself S, just the letter S, as in Sam. And there is a difference between species and kind, okay? But if you eliminate from the 8.7, if you eliminate the plants and the bacteria and the insects and you drop them out, you're going to go from 8.7 million down to the thousands, high thousands that is. Now, if you drop all the marine life, that also drops the animals quite a bit. And then you're not worried about the actual species. The actual species would be something like a specific, like a collie and a chihuahua and a wolf. Those are all specific species. But we're concerned about the family. The family is what we're concerned about. And in the Bible, this term here is a new term, okay, used by the evolutionists. So we're going to use that, okay? But for us in the Bible, God says the kind, and that would be family. So family would be like the wolf, the dogs, the coyotes, the fox. That's a family. That's a kind. Okay, so you just bring one like a set of wolves, and that would eliminate so many thousands and thousands of dog type animals out there. So that's what God means by a kind. All right, so then every kind of species is not needed. I just want to repeat that again. Just the family, the kind. All right, in Genesis 6:20, and then God is the one that told Noah that when he's ready, on the last week of before the flood, God actually brought the animals to Noah. And God is going to pick the best of animals out there, the healthiest, the ones that are going to be genetically neutral. They're going to go all over the place after the flood. So there's going to be plenty of room. And I forgot to put the number over here. When you break it down, actually I was waiting for a slide to go into my email and it never came. It actually took over an hour. But when you break it down, you get to about 1,500 kinds, 1,500 kinds that are actually going into the ark, approximately, of course. So now it becomes more realistic. There's plenty of room for 1,500 animals. Actually, that's just kinds. Animals will be somewhere around 7,000 K, approximately, because it's 2 of some and 7 of others. So that's the estimation. 1,500 kinds, 7,000 animals into the ark. All right, dinosaurs still alive, and I talked about this in the past episode. But through history, we have writings from Marco Polo, we have writings for Alexander the Great, and other ones in South America, the Inca stones, tremendous amount of testimonies of people, and the times of the knights, like St. George, killing a dinosaur. They call it dragons. And you have other tons of testimonies of people either killing dinosaurs, then hunting them down. Their friends got killed by dinosaurs. Yes, got killed by dinosaurs, more like a plesiosaurus, or they were driven away when we start to expand into territories, and you're not going to live in that territory with an aggressive animal. You're going to drive them away. So just Nessie alone, there's over 11,000 reports of seeing Nessie or a type of Nessie, a plesiosaur. Okay, and of course, whenever they're gonna, why don't you show us a picture? Well, I can't tell you how many times I crossed a deer and I didn't take a picture because the deer was there 2 seconds. And it takes a few seconds just to look at the animal and admire them and say, wow, that's nice. The deer just crossed me. And then you think about, oh, I should have took a picture. They have to be roaming there for over 30 seconds for you to even think about it. Anyway, but here's a picture of one making a wake here. And they'll show them that picture. They go, well, you can't tell what it was. And they'll tell you, but I was looking at it for 15 minutes. I saw it come out of the water. I saw it going in the water. And it's a bunch of other pictures too. Okay. And that's just one type of animal. There's other ones out there. There's a missionary from Canada that went to Kenya, and he saw this type of animal, of dinosaur. Okay. He said the only difference was that the ridges in the back were larger. He said he saw it for 15 minutes right there. He saw it for 15 minutes. And about 4 years ago, Ken Hovind had called this person because he used to put the numbers down of a lot of people. Some people were getting old, and he said, look, I'm 80 years old. I want people to stop calling me because you get a lot of calls from here after the first 100. You're tired of the calls, okay? But he said he saw one for 15 minutes. So they're still being seen. It's just infrequent. Plus, you have other reports around the world. It's not just Africa area, okay? Usually unexplored areas. There was another 100 years ago when there was people excavating South America. There was reports there of a Brachiosaurus type dinosaur. Is everybody lying? Is everybody wrong? Out of 11,000 people, is every picture wrong? I know there's false pictures out there. I get it. Okay, but then can they all be wrong? That's a little bit unusual. I mean, I just can't believe all the pictures are off. Or is it possible that the religion of the evolutionists are not intellectually honest? This is what I believe. I believe if we found a dinosaur today and we actually displayed it in a zoo or some place where it's safe and we can keep it alive, they wouldn't say, wow, this is, maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's not millions of years. They would say, wow, this animal lived through 150 million years. They've already said that with that fish that they said was a intermediate fish, which I showed you last time. They do this. They won't depart from their religion. So this is in Africa again, and this is Mokele Mambe, and this animal has so much information on it. It's incredible. First of all, it's got satellite images of groups of these animals moving together, and something about going towards 3 rivers. I didn't understand that part, but they have amazing eyewitness testimonies. Some of them just seeing them. Some of them, some tribesmen, their father killed one of them. This is like years ago. They've plotted the migration pattern of this particular animal. They recorded their voices. It sounds like a thunder, a very strange one. It's unknown to any other African animal. It's unusual. And they've even located a cave where they use the cave. But they've been successful. Last time that I can remember, it's about 2005, last time they made a search for it. But even if they made a search, I wouldn't put it to the evolutionists where they would threaten the people, like say, look, we're not telling anybody about this. I would not put it behind anybody. All right, look at this picture below. This is actually a mammal, okay? According to evolution, dinosaurs and mammals are very far apart, like millions of years, okay? But this particular mammal has dinosaur for breakfast. And they can tell by machines, by computers, the bones of what type of dinosaur. Don't Now, if you thought when I said, now this mammal here is probably the size of a fox, okay? Now, if you said to yourself, if you thought about how can this animal of the size of a fox eat a dinosaur, because it's programming from school. Every time I say the word dinosaur, you're thinking of a humongous animal. But there's some dinosaurs, tiny little dinosaurs, the size of chickens, the size smaller than chickens. So he probably got something like that. It depends on their hip structure, is what actually makes them dinosaurs. The differential between the lizards and the dinosaurs. All right. So it seems to me that the evolutionists killed the dinosaurs because they won't admit it. Now I'm being flippant, I get it, but they just won't admit it. We found living dinosaurs, living fossils, and they're just not going to admit that maybe the world isn't this old. Don't forget, they put the time stamp on the world, on this evolutionary scale of dirt. They put it there. So once they put it there, they dated the fossils to those dirts, but they made all those dates up. All the other tests that we have, they're subjective. They're not soundproof like they want you to believe. All right, this is just extra. If you want to pause it and look at it, that Loch Ness is Loch means like lake I think in Ireland. So this is in Japan area. Okay, and I think as early as World War II, when they put Japanese there guarding the islands, so we won't go in there and use it as a fort. They had reports of these plesiosaur type animals, and even 1973, it's just a lot of reports. This is an old picture, but they've had newer ones. But if you want to print it out, just pause it and look at it. You can research it yourself. So it's not just Loch Ness; it's in other places and even in Canada too. All right, seek the Lord before you become extinct, because you don't know when your time is up. Okay, and I know we want to live like we're going to live forever, but we don't. In the Bible, and it's a harsh verse, in Luke 12:20, it says, "You fool, thou fool." It says, "This night your soul will be required of you." So the reason the Bible uses fool is because fool in the Bible it's a great warning. It's a great warning, and it tells you, like, look, if you miss the call of salvation because you didn't take it, you've basically made the biggest mistake of your life, and that's true. And all we got to do is, look, we all sin. We just need to repent and follow Christ. Be like him and work for him, basically. And I appreciate you going through this video with me. And help me out. Subscribe, thumbs up, share it, and let's pass the word together. This is the Bible Ranger, keeping the Bible simple yet rich in content. Thank you very much.